hmm Um, I think it was fraudulent on the part of the sheriff's department to not serve the petitioner before there was a court hearing. Yes. Now, more than likely, she did see online because you do put online when somebody does respond to a dissolution of marriage. Yeah. And it wasn't only fraudulent to have a court hearing within one day, one actual court day of me responding and attending the children in the middle class. Yes. It wasn't just fraudulent to use the wrong last name to motion the court for default dissolution of marriage. It was fraudulent for the sheriff's department to not have knowledge of who's in the courthouse and not intentionally serve her before having a court hearing. Now, this idea that you have to accommodate those that are the alleged victims of domestic violence and child abuse and they have to get court hearings whenever they say. I think there's a real lawsuit because I paid $65 for the petitioner to be served as soon as possible, my response. And if the sheriff's department did know that she was docketed for a court hearing, you should have walked upstairs, served the petitioner, and they should have canceled the court hearing. But instead, you decided. Now there's the fraud of motioning a court with the thought of not being served the response of the dissolution of marriage because I did respond on that Friday, and you don't have to serve people on the weekends. You know how you don't work on the weekends, Sheriff? Yes. I've had to go through 3 years of weekends where I keep telling you, yes, that it is a crime to deprive people of their rights. Now, let's say, do I have to pay child support if my ex keeps me away from my kids? Yes. Yes, you do have to pay child support. Should not be confused with custody and visitation. Do I have to pay child support to the petitioner, all right, that intentionally motioned the court with the knowledge that I had responded and I did attend the children in the middle class that hadn't yet received my response to the dissolution of marriage because of her fraudulent want of you issuing a dissolution of marriage so that I would have to pay child support. Now, when you talk about custody and visitation, and then you talk about me paying $1,500 a month, yes, it looks like the petitioner was fraudulently wanting to enrich herself at the cost of me not having any rights as a father. It's not just the motioning of the court. It's what the court could have done, Brent Basden. The court could have given her custody and child support because she would have said he didn't respond within the 90 days. But I had actually documented and paid the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department is complicit in the fraud, yes, of a petitioner for dissolution of marriage wanting $18,000 a year. You know, as law enforcement, you have an obligation to protect me from not having any unnecessary expenses as a citizen. Yes, yes, you do. Now, that $65 that I paid on the 24th, yes, that guaranteed me the right to not have to pay child support because I should have gotten notice of court hearings before they happened. And it guaranteed that you had a legal and financial obligation to serve the petitioner as soon as you did know where she was. Now, considering she was just right upstairs, why didn't the sheriff walk over there and say, I'm sorry, Missy, there's no court hearing for you today? Now, there's the fraud of motioning the court, the fraud of having knowledge of the response within 90 days. Yes. There's the fraud of using the wrong last name. Yes. There's the fraud of the sheriff's department not serving somebody that they did know was in the courthouse. And then there's the real crime. I mean, the big fucking crime right now. That would be the child support that you're going to make me pay. Child support should not be confused with custody and visitation. Every parent has an obligation to support his or her children. Yes. With one narrow exception, no state allows a parent to withhold support because of disputes over visitation. The exception, if custodial parent disappears for a lengthy period, yes, so that no visitation is possible. A few courts have ruled that the non-custodial parent's duty to pay child support may be considered temporarily suspended. Yes. Now, my wife did actually. Oh, what's this say? No state allowed to withhold because of disputes. The custodial disappears for a lengthy period. Seems that the custodial parent had disappeared from Guam on July 2nd, 2011. Made up some false accusations of domestic violence and child abuse. Yes, I went through diversion. My record was expunged. Yes. You arrested me at the same moment of serving me the dissolution of marriage. Yes. I responded within the 90 days. Yes. And then she disappeared, as in she lived in Sequim, Washington. Yes. But the Sequim Police Department, you did know where she was or you didn't. Now, did she live there in 2015 or did she live in Brendan or Quilcene or wherever the fuck she lives? Now, it seems that my wife has disappeared with my sons for years and no.